What is going on, gamers? Aevatrex here, and today we're going to be talking about Lockfin, better known as Squire. Now, this is a hero that a lot of people do not use, or rather don't know how to use properly, and they just think that he stinks. But to be honest with you, this is a hero that can be very useful in monster hunting, in Coliseum, even in attacks when you're attacking other castles. Even if you're a hyper, you can use this hero, and this hero is very helpful. Free to play hero, so anybody that can go ahead and farm the medals will be able to get him to gold. Now, it's not one that I would prioritize over other ones like Trickster or Rose Knight, etc. But once you have your main free to play heroes that are gold that you wanted to focus on, Squire would actually not be a very bad hero to focus on. Now, before we get into the Squire things, I have a few things to say. Now, a couple days back, my mail was like a 80 plus that I was not able to read, and then when new mail would come in, it would kick out an old one. I've been trying to catch up with them, but as you see, I mean, I still have like 26 to go. So if you sent me a message and I didn't reply, either I couldn't or I missed it. I'm not trying to ignore anybody, but I mean, it was over 80, and as new ones came in, old ones were getting kicked out. And then there was also somebody that spammed me in the middle of that, so that probably deleted a lot of mail. So just letting you know, if you sent me a mail and I didn't reply, I'm not ignoring you. Second thing is, I'm actually seeing a lot of comments in Lords Mobile videos and also Castle Clash videos asking for more Lords Mobile videos. So if that's something that you guys want to see, more regular uploads of Lords Mobile, maybe like a daily upload, then let me know, because now I'm actually seeing people request Lords Mobile, whereas before, as most of you guys already know, my channel is mostly Castle Clash. So now I'm actually getting requests for Lords Mobile, whereas before people were like, well, this isn't Castle Clash. So if you want to see more Lords Mobile, let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll try to make it a daily thing where I upload Lords Mobile as well as Castle Clash. So just letting you guys know that. Now let's go ahead and go into the hero review. Alright, so here we are. Squire. Now, items, they're pretty common. Nothing really sets him apart from any of the other mage. If you click here, you can see that he's an INT hero, meaning that he is a spellcaster, a mage per se. Now, if you go over his battle skills, this is here where he's actually very, very useful. He has stone production. So if you're a hyper for stone, this is actually a hero that you want to invest into, because that is going to help with your resources. That's why a lot of people have him as their gold hero and as their leader, because if they're a hyper for stone, this is a great hero for that. As far as the other things, trap construction boost, that's pretty useless, let's be honest. But infantry attack boost. A lot of people forget that Squire gives them infantry attack boost, and out of all of the stats that you want, whether it's attack, HP, and defense, attack is absolutely the number one. So Squire, if you're going to be sending infantry, or maybe you don't have any other infantry heroes that you can include, Squire is going to be a great option. I would say, for instance, that Squire is definitely a better option in these cases than Shade, because Shade only gives infantry defense, and that's not something that's that great. And there are other heroes like Soul Forger that also gives you that attack boost, but it then would just comes down to, are you a stone hyper, are you a gold hyper? And when we're talking about actually using the heroes outside of what we've been talking about, Squire is much more useful than Soul Forger, so just keep that in mind. Stone supply is great just overall, because it's just going to be there forever. You don't actually have to have him as your leader for that to apply, so that's great. And then of course the infantry attack boost at 30% is amazing to have. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of things. Now, hero skills. This is where we can actually start dissecting this hero and where he's going to be really good. Now, of course, this is the passive. He increases INT by 240. Essentially what that does is it boosts his magic abilities, and he'll do more damage, etc. So that's a great passive to have regardless. But let's go ahead and go into the ones that he can activate. Now, the first one is Wild Vortex. Unleashes a vortex that bounces among enemies, dealing damage up to 6 times. And it deals 2,000 magic damage. So if it bounces between 6 times, we're talking about 12,000 magic damage. Now, of course, it won't be into one target, but it's great to start getting damage into the front line and withering them down. And then of course the big one, the one that makes Squire really useful is the Aqua Heal. Forms a magical field around the ally with the lowest HP, applying a heal to allies in a large area for 5 seconds, and it restores HP by 1500 per second. Now what does this mean? There's a lot of things that I want to talk about when it comes to Aqua Heal, because a lot of people see this and they think, well, he's a healer, and they try to use him as the only healer. It will not work. Don't try to use Squire as your main healer unless you know, like for instance, if it's a monster hunting and you know that you only need a little bit of healing to stay alive, then that's fine. But Coliseum, using just him as a healer usually doesn't bode well for you. Another thing for Aqua Heal is that it is very easy to disrupt it. It has a very long cast time. I believe the cast time is about 3 or 4 seconds. And what I mean by that is there's an animation that he's doing for about 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds. And if he gets stunned or hit or anything during that time, it basically cancels out this ability. So there goes your heals. You're going to have to wait until he comes back around to Aqua Heal again. And that can really destroy you. So what does that mean? That basically means that for you to have Squire be effective, you essentially want to have him in the back line. And what do I mean when I say back line? I'm going to go ahead and show you right now. So this is my team. Let's just say this is Coliseum, but this also applies for monster hunting, etc. Back line would be my femme fatale, all the way in the back. These little corners, that's essentially where you want Squire to be. So let's see, like right here, that wouldn't be good for me. But if I did something like this, that would be good, because Squire would then be on the back line. And essentially what that does is, if you're facing off against a big guy and he tries to stun, Squire is most likely going to be out of the range. Whereas if Squire was right here in one of the top 3 spots, he's going to be easily countered or disrupted, etc. So just gotta make sure that you keep that in mind. And then of course his ultimate, let's get to it. Tidal Wave. Now sends a furious tide upon the target in a medium area, dealing damage for 5 seconds. Deal 1800 magic damage per second. Now essentially Tidal Wave is not an ultimate that really does a lot of damage, neither Wild Vortex either. So Tidal Wave and Wild Vortex, while they do damage, they're nothing crazy. Alone by themselves, they're not really going to do much. But if you use these two combined with other good heroes that can do damage at the same time and Aqua Heal, it's going to be a very hard team to take down. If you play your cards right with Squire, it's going to be a really useful hero. Just keep in mind to keep him on the back line and not in the front. Now let's go ahead and talk about monster hunting, because monster hunting is a thing that people just sometimes look over, and they just look at a list and they just throw whatever heroes it's on set list, and that doesn't always work. Now this level 3 Mega Maggot is a great example, because this Mega Maggot, if I do not send a Squire, he will start to pick apart my mages, and I do not want to send a tank and a healer, because that's going to take away a lot of my damage. And this level 3 doesn't do a lot of damage, so I only need a little bit of heals, and that's where Squire really comes through, because not only does he provide the heals that I need to keep everybody alive, he's also, remember, he's also going to be doing a decent amount of magic damage as well. So as you can tell, I have 5 magic casters right here. They're mostly all free to play except maybe Petite Devil. If you don't have Petite Devil, you can use Snow Queen. Just magic users, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at this battle, and I'm going to show you exactly why Squire is such a stud. Alright, so here we go. He is going to be in the lead, but that's perfectly okay, because once he has that heal down right there, you saw his HP. His HP was going down crazy. If that was another caster and I didn't have a healer right here, that front line caster would be already dead, okay? Now, Squire's stats are not very different from other casters. His HP, his defense, they're all very similar to all of them. There's nothing really special about them. He's not any sturdier or anything like that. But what you're seeing here is that when he goes ahead and puts that heal down, not only is it healing him, it's healing the team. And because this Mega Maggot does area damage, meaning it hits everybody, he's able to keep everybody up. But most importantly, he's able to stay alive. Without C Squire, I would have probably lost 3, maybe 4 of my casters before this was done. And this was a first hit on a level 3 Mega Maggot, and I did about 9% damage. That's pretty good. The first time I hit without C Squire, I think I ended up using Snow Queen. I think it was only like 6%, something like that. It was really, really bad. So if you have a monster that you just need a little bit of heals, you don't necessarily need to throw a tank and a specific healer like a Lore Weaver that doesn't do a lot of damage. Throw in C Squire. C Squire with that heal. Maybe he won't stay up the whole time. It will obviously depend on the monster. But if it's a monster that's weak against magic, and it's a monster that's level 3 and higher, and you just need a little bit of healing, consider C Squire, because he is really, really good. His damage is not what makes him stand out. It's what he brings to the team, as well as the damage and the durability. So keep that in mind when you're hunting monsters. Make sure that you are viewing the battles before you hunt monsters again, until you know exactly which team is the best one to use. So again, if you're going to go into battle against other castles and you're sending infantry, C Squire is great for that. With the stone production, if you're into doing that and being a hyper stone, C Squire is great for that. If you're going to be monster hunting for monsters that are weak against magic, C Squire is great for that. Now, how is C Squire in the Coliseum? He's very underrated. And when I say very underrated, I mean like people do not use him, and when they do, usually they do not know how to. So a lot of times when they see free-to-play heroes that are not used much in the Coliseum, they just think, well, they suck, so I'm never going to use them. Doesn't matter what the other opponents are using, I'm just not going to use them because nobody else is using them. So they just think, well, he must suck. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's wrong. If you use C Squire correctly, you can win, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how. Alright, now let's go ahead and jump into the very first replay. Now this is going to be Berserker, Rose Knight, Shade, Lore Weaver, and then Aquaman himself, C Squire. Now, why is this team good? Well, essentially the whole purpose of this team is to whittle their front line down to about half health, and then have Shade and Berserker do that. Take them out. And really, their Lore Weaver got super lucky that it didn't go with them there as well. But essentially, the job has been done, okay? Now I have 2 healers, I have an assassin, and even if I lose Shade here, it's not a problem. But because I have 2 healers, everybody is back to full health. And now the only issue that I have is taking down their healer. But because I have so many heroes that are going to be doing damage all over the place, Lore Weaver and her stun being one, Shade right here being another, and then Rose Knight, they're all going to couple in with right there. Look at all of that damage just over time. There goes the silence from Shade, take out the healer, and now we have 45 seconds to go ahead and just pick these people apart. There goes the heal from C Squire. One perfect thing that you should note is, where do I have C Squire? That's right, C Squire is on the back line, because if not, his heal can easily be counterable by big guy. It can be disrupted, etc. So that's not something that you want to happen. But look at this, 5-0 versus a very common and strong team. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next replay. Now this one is going to be going up against a Demon Slayer, which is also very, very common, and one hero that he doesn't really do too well against. But because I have Lore Weaver in here, he's going to be going up against the Lore Weaver. But check this out. The Shade is going to go ahead and take out this Demon Slayer right here. Here he goes, and boom, gone. Keep in mind that now Lore Weaver is not healing, but guess who's healing? That's right, C Squire. So while the Shade was going ahead and taking out the Demon Slayer, and when I was getting heals over there, Squire was doing his thing over here and focusing on the tanks. And once again, he was on the back line doing his thing, and he was able to survive. And now look at this. It's just a matter of taking out this team before time runs out. And I mean, what can you say? This is a really powerful team that if you play it correctly, it can get you places. Just trust me on that one. And then the very last replay, one of the most famous teams right now. This is one of the most overused teams. Can this team actually beat it? Now, the only change here is that I have Witchdoll in there, but that's completely okay because Squire and his what he does, it's still the same. So you want Squire once again on the back line, and now he's gonna go ahead and start proccing, and that's perfectly fine because you want that proc to happen. There, I get super low right here, but of course my low waiver comes through, and now check out this team. This super overused team is being taken down by two heroes that quite frankly do not get a lot of play, the Shade and Squire. So what makes it really strong? Once again, Shade is going to start proccing on the front line, and so is Squire. And if you keep Squire on the back and safe, he's going to do a lot of work for you. And you just got to have a team that's going to support his style. His style is not to burst anybody down. It's just to whittle them down and have somebody else burst them. And so with all of that being said, Squire, is he as bad as a lot of people perceive him to be? Meaning you barely see him used in almost anything? Absolutely not. He's honestly one of the most underused heroes in the game because I think he brings a lot of things that other heroes just don't, and a lot of other heroes get more play than him, like a Death Knight, for instance. I would put Squire as way more useful than a Death Knight, but then you see Death Knights everywhere. Maybe it's because IGG promotes Death Knights a lot. I don't know. If you haven't worked on Squire yet, maybe after this video you will see him on another light. Well, hopefully you enjoy these kind of videos, these kind of review type of videos. If you have a hero that you want me to break down next that you feel might be underutilized, make sure that you put it in the comment section. I will be going over the comments and seeing what you guys have to say. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching, and until later, bye.